Tight pajamas and somatic therapy. What a title for a video. This is part 2 of, I don't know, 5,000 parts talking about my transformation from a whole massive May 2025 complete identity deconstruction and rebuild that has resulted in radical external change. But really it's that internal work that was done over a period of 3 weeks that has been incredible. So today, for example, I've just woken up. These are my pajamas. How can I? So this just 2XU compression tights, top, this kind of thing. Let me put my phone down. It's a different sort of pajamas, I guess. You know, most people like to sleep naked or with not much on at all, especially guys. They like to have less on to feel free for some reason. And yet I like to feel the opposite. If you've seen me outside of the suit context when I'm not interviewing, generally I'm wearing quite tight clothing, and there's a reason behind that. But part of it is just this discovery of somatic awareness back in May that I'll tell you about today in the hope that it helps someone else out there. I've always been very cerebral and logical and frontal cortex driven. And when I see people doing things like breath therapy and tapping therapy, you've seen tapping therapy where they tap themselves, and I just thought it was some crazy, people are, you know, anxious and can't cope, and so they've got to do this nervous tapping therapy on their leg or whatever it is. Well, I've finally come to respect the body and the fact that it can know things deeper than your conscious thought. And so back in 2025, back in May 2025, during this therapy work, I discovered that sometimes I needed to feel swaddled. I needed to feel held, compressed. I don't know, maybe I'm traumatized because when I was a kid, my mum refused to swaddle me. I don't know. But the reality is I had to just do some things like wear these strange pajamas to bed, because I knew on a deep level somehow it helped me in my nervous system. And so I would swing between sleeping with like just underwear, almost nothing, and then the next night needing to have full coverage, as compressed and as tight as possible, weighted blanket on top, great weighted blanket from, I think it's Ecosa. And then even there was a period of about a week where I had to sleep with gloves on, literally going to sleep with like gloves, you know, just weird. Thankfully, I have a wife who is very understanding of all these things, even though she doesn't understand it, she accepts it. And so the thing I learned was the body, for some reason, knows things and can send signals and can tell me you need to wear this. Like, who cares what you wear to bed? You're watching a video of some random half Asian, half Maori dude talking about his pajamas. I mean, what's wrong with you? You're watching it. Well, the truth is these things matter and we don't put enough importance on it. I've tried things, flotation therapy, you know, I've done all sorts of stuff, and I'm starting to understand that being more sensitive when your body gives you a signal that it needs something. Sometimes we need to go out and we need to be in the sun. Sometimes we need to buy a weighted blanket. Sometimes we need to just be at home and be snuggled in a blanket. And we think that's just because it's a comfort thing. But sometimes your body might need to actually have that signal that things are okay. Or I'm not even sure. It's really hard to even say intellectually what it is or what. You see, it's hard for me to even talk about it because I'm literally fundamentally talking about a way of knowing that is deeper than my ability to express. Sometimes I feel like I just need to move on a deep level. I just need to lift something heavy just once because I haven't lifted anything heavy all day. And I do it, and it's not to build muscle. It's not to be fit or burn calories or anything like that. It's just I need to, and I don't know why. It's not like I have a habit of being a gym bunny, but my body knows, Matt, you need to lift something really heavy. Just lift it once or twice and then go back to your day. And I do it and I feel amazing. Now you can go into the people commenting, oh, okay, you've got biological mechanisms firing off when you lift and you're stimulating active tissue and you're firing up the ATP cycle and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure, all the things are happening, but there's also a psychological component as well. And so short little update, wanted to encourage people to start listening to the little signs, especially if you're like me, where I was really at war with my body, as we talked about before, eating crazy amounts of food and coping emotionally with binge eating and crap. That's kind of like noise and covering up what your body's trying to scream at you. It's calling for something. You know how it feels, right? When you're chasing after that food and you're in your 10th Cadbury family chocolate bar for the night. Well, let's use realistic numbers. You're on your second full-size family block. You've finished that. You've had a packet of kettle chips and you're like, what else do I need? Yes, there's the whole insulin spike. Yes, there's the lack of zinc where you can't taste stuff, your whole body's thrown off. Yes, you should probably do a hair tissue mineral analysis. Yes. But there's an emotional component underneath all of that as well that we are trying to fill a void, and we're trying to fill it with this other stuff. And for me, just the fact that I could use somatic therapy in what I wear and how I sleep and wear the blanket, even throughout the day. So not so much now, but at the time in May, sometimes I had to ground myself. Here I am, intellectual, talking like a hippie. I had to ground myself by feeling hard parts of my body like my bones, right? Anywhere that's clavicle, anywhere where I can feel my hip bones now. I never used to be able to feel that. I had to touch something hard. And as a fatty, you might be a fellow fatty, like, I guess I'm not a fatty anymore, but I kind of feel like a fatty up in here because it's odd to change body shape so quick from May to November. As a fellow fatty, you know that fluffy noise, like the fat that hangs off and obscures and covers. Well, I had to press through deep and find those bones because touching a part of my kneecap or whatever, touching a bone gave me a sense of solidity in a world of fluff and noise. So if I was feeling out of sorts and there was just so much noise in my world, there was also noise on my body in terms of the fat and so on. And so if I could just press through and find the bones, and for me, the word remain was big for me. So if I could just tell myself remain here in the moment, I can feel my bone, press through all the spilling over fat at the time, but I'm here and I can remain. And it was a tremendous grounding technique. And there will be people out there who are way more versed in parts work and integration therapy and psychotherapy who will be able to put actual terms around what I was experiencing. But the point of me sharing is to say, hey, why don't you try it? If you are stuck, why don't you try some somatic therapy? Find what your body really sings with. Is it hot baths? Is it clothing? What's the thing? Have a go. Go do some sensory deprivation flotation therapy. That's fantastic. Go and lie in a tank, magnesium-filled tank for an hour. You can do them all over the world. In fact, I used to do it when I do international travel for my corporate life. When I traveled to, say, London, massive jet lag, obviously. I'd put my hotel bags in the room and go straight to a flotation therapy center and lie in there for 2 hours. And the jet lag would be gone. I'd be adapted to the time zone really quick. There's something about it. Because when you're doing a meditative state in these sensory deprivation tanks, you are not sleeping, but you also aren't fully conscious because you're depriving your senses. The water is the same temperature as you, you're floating, you can't feel anything, it's dark, it's silent, all your senses are cut off, and you're, I don't know, meditating, I guess, but you do this weird floating and drifting. It's like drifting off to sleep, but rather than a short drift period and then sleep, you stay in that drift period for the full 2 hours. It's incredible. I've never done drugs, but if that's what drugs are like, far out, that's awesome. Just a really blissful, peaceful state. And it seems to be healing, literally healing on a biochemistry level because it solves my jet lag. Then I can go about my day in London, have a normal sleep, adapt to the time zone. It was amazing. All right, many, many more updates to come. Things to talk about, like the little orphan split and the dissociative personality that I developed when I was 4 and then had to reintegrate and had to feed him cheesecake to heal. Oh my goodness, it's going to be a fun journey.